All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us and welcome back. And Bone. Episode 3. Today, Matthew and I conduct a thorough investigation of the later season of Berserk, comparatively to certain Marvel and DC characters. A lot of fun there. We travel on from that into a little bit of UFC, MMA, classic MMA fight talk, and a little bit about the physiology of heavyweights. I think you guys are going to enjoy that. We move on to some more socially critical content. Talk about some... We don't really single out one social group. It's more of just the idea of committing to social groups. We have a lot of commentary on that and religion and how they compare. You know, we talk about that. We talk about the latest Bill Cosby news, what's up there, you know, and a series of other things that you wouldn't want to talk about on a first date. We also make our way into some history. Matt provides us with a little insight on the revolutionary tactics of comic book creator William Gaines of EC Comics and his blatant disregard of the Comics Code Authority to print what he felt not only made a better comic, but allowed a comic to be a commentary on the world, which is, you know, kind of a beautiful thing. And it really is what ended up changing the face of what comics do. Instead of being just light, fun things, they became more of a progressive medium for people to view commentary on social structures. Got a few interesting movies we go over. Talk about the adaptation of the animated adaptation of The Killing Joke. I think you guys are going to like what we have to say about that. And for everything else, I mean, sit tight and listen up. Back and Bone, Episode 3. Here we go. Enjoy the show.
Turns all your bad feelings into good feelings. It's a nightmare.
An Uzi? I'm not from South Central Los fucking Angeles. I didn't come here to shoot 20 black 10-year-olds in a fucking driveway. I want a normal gun for a normal person.
Whatever you're reaching for better be a sandwich, because you're gonna have to eat it.
You thought he was white before? You should see that sucking now.
I'll use small words that you'll be sure to understand.
We are ready. Yeah, dig into that veggie platter. All right, so after a little bit of fiddling around, we've come to realize that for some very non-technical reason, you have to hold the microphone in your hand to get it to work. But
we were ready for the technology. However, the technology was not ready for the Back and Bone podcast.
But I hope you are, because you're here observing it.
Back and Bone 3, back in action.
Back and Bone 3.
Somebody's playing a deadly game, and it's up to Back and Bone to figure it out.
Is that Are we doing Pablo Francisco?
That was definitely Pablo Francisco. Yeah. I was hoping they wouldn't notice it, and they would think that it was my genius that produced that.
You guys may not have noticed that, but nothing gets past me. I have this one figured out.
That's kind of the whole point of this podcast. You know, you have like two guys who are supposed to be fairly knowledgeable in all things
pretty much everything
entertainment related.
Anything in the world that you can experience, we are what you would call experts.
Well, you know, we did have a comment here. I'm looking at the comments from our last podcast, and Thomas Ballesteri left us a very complimentary comment.
I saw that he commented, and I didn't get a chance to read it because it just happened on my way here.
He said, "This is an awesome podcast, especially with two intellectuals as yourselves. Great understanding of fighting, and you guys have the voices to make a great podcast. Looking forward to more episodes."
I thought he was going to say, "You guys have the voices of an angel."
I was ready.
Kind of
for
sounded
that.
like it was going that direction.
Two intellectuals with the combined voice of an angel.
I never thought of myself as an intellectual before, but now that I think about it, I am pretty fucking smart. I mean, I'm other than you, I am probably the smartest guy I know. Behind you.
Behind me. Which, that's a bold compliment. But to be honest, I don't really know a lot of smart people. So, and I don't think you do either. No, we know lots of smart people. We know lots of people who are smarter than us.
If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a genius. You're probably incredibly smart.
If you managed to somehow weed through all the garbage on the internet and found your way to us to listen to what we have to say about the world, I mean, just based off what you're learning today, you're definitely smarter than 90% of people out there.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, drop that schooling that you're doing. You don't need a master's degree. We can give you a master's degree in nonsense. Yes.
So that's a perfect way of putting it. That was a brief interjection by my mother. I want to welcome Sherry Cutrone, or Sherry Ligon, excuse me.
I go by both.
She goes by both. It's fair. Anyway, I think I'm losing audio here. Something's going wrong. All right, we're gonna have to pause there. Well, I was gonna pause it, but it looks like we're back on. Anyway, I want to talk about this because it was a request on our first podcast. We didn't get to it on the second one.
Yes.
I recently got to go through some episodes of Berserk.
Yes.
Which I want to get my thoughts down about it real quick. I liked it in theory a lot. I liked the violence of it. I liked the characters. The main character, his whole mysterious background, and the fact that he's kind of like, I guess you would describe him as like a demon hunter or something, more or less.
And he fights like giant, big fucking demons, right?
Yeah, he fights like giant, monstrous demons, but he also fights like spectral demons. He fights humanoid, animalian demons and skeletons and stuff. Like it was a really good slew of different types of monsters that he battles with, and I like that. I think that stuff's really fun to watch and exciting. I liked how it was not. It wasn't delicate. Like they killed off on the first episode. He cuts a little girl in half because she gets possessed by a demon and tries to stab him.
I like that. I mean, shows no mercy.
Yeah, exactly. It was absolutely merciless. To a point where it can almost be considered distasteful. But I didn't feel like it crossed that line. I thought it was all done well. What I didn't like was, and this was my own fault. I watched the wrong season of it. I watched the newer season where they were experimenting with a merger of classical anime style and 3D rap style, where they do like a vague sort of 3-dimensional animation that has like a film set over it, and it looked weird and it really didn't work, and it took like there were several scenes that on the show that I found myself being completely distracted from how compelling the actual what was actually going on was, and I was completely taken out of it just by how fucking weird the animation looked. It just didn't connect to me.
I haven't seen the new Berserk. I did enjoy the animation of the old Berserk, but I'm very much a fan of that kind of rough 90s style of animation, especially when it comes to actually most of the anime that I enjoy all came out of the 90s.
Right.
I'm very hit or miss with my anime. Like the 90% of it I don't like, but the 10% that I do I really tend to like a lot. But I have noticed that with some of the newer anime, like if the animation is too polished, I really don't like it.
Well, this one was a weird combination of them trying something new, but also trying to make it look older. It had a weird shading style where it was like solid lines for the shading. They didn't actually do filled shading.
Okay.
And they did a lot of it, like on every shot of every character. There was a lot of hard line shading, and that combined with the 3D like rap look it was really ugly.
There's some examples of some new anime that I saw where I thought they did a really good job of capturing some of that retro feel. Have you seen One Punch Man?
I haven't watched it yet.
I think you would love One Punch Man. One Punch Man is genuinely like really, really funny.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. It's hilarious. It's actually like the only anime recently that I've watched where I actually sat down and watched the entire season all the way through.
Okay.
And it's really interesting because when they have they'll have these action scenes in it where the main character Saitama is fighting these big giant destructive monsters, and they do a really good job of getting that gritty kind of, like I said, 90s looking style down, very raw looking.
Well, as I've mentioned before, like one of my favorite animes ever was Ninja Scroll.
Yeah.
And that has a really gritty, really ugly 90s style. It might even be like before night. Was that like late 80s or was that?
I think it might be late 80s.
Let's confirm that real quick. But just what I have to say about
1993.
Well, I don't know. I know when we were talking a little bit before we started recording, I mentioned this. I don't know if I said it on air, but a lot of the qualities that I did like about Berserk or things that reminded me of Ninja Scroll, like the types of like superhuman things that he fights.
Right.
My biggest thing with Ninja Scroll though that like really like got me into it, the movie and not the series, because they kind of changed this in the series. So in the movie, he didn't really have like a power or anything. He was just a gangster ass ninja. He was the baddest ninja, and he fucking knew it. He was strutting. He was like talking shit to people, and he'd run into these outrageous monsters and just be like cool about it. He's like, I know I got this. I'm Jubei, motherfucker. Like,
there is something to be said about that. It was always, I think it's almost like the kind of like the Batman effect.
Yeah.
People. It makes the character more relatable, and I think when you have a universe like, just kind of like in the DC universe, for example, or in Justice League, where you have all these characters like Superman is like a god, Wonder Woman is like a god, Flash is like a god. They have these crazy powers, and then when you throw somebody in there like Batman, who doesn't have any powers, he's just rich, you almost feel like he's like on your team. Like, he's in there for us. He's in there for the regular humans,
Also, him. Another similarity, like something to connect, like Batman to Jubei from Ninja Scroll, is he's surrounded by gods, super powered beings that have every advantage in the world because what they can do isn't even a real thing,
Right.
But Batman, like Jubei, struts in with confidence. Like he's already got the situation figured out. Like he not only knows the score, he knows how to beat it.
Right. What's funny is I said almost the exact same thing last night after we went to go see, and I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to throw anything out there. I'll be very brief. But when we went to go see Infinity War last night, and
when Batman made an appearance in the Infinity War.
Well, similarly, because my wife was asking me, I really liked Captain America in the film, and for some reason, even though he's not the most charismatic character and he's not the most powerful character, she was asking me, she's like, why do you like Captain America? He's like, Thor's way stronger than him, and Iron Man, she was comparing him like skill wise to these other characters, and I was like, it's not about that. I was like, when Captain America walks in, he just like, he gets shit. You feel like he's got shit handled.
Yeah.
He comes in, he's
like the situation manager of everything.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what Batman is. He's the situation manager.
Well, Batman and Captain America are the ones who... All right, so we're back on. So we're having a little technical difficulties again with this new software that we're using. We went on for about 25 minutes there, and it just stopped at 11:10. But I know where we were at just now. We were saying how in the Marvel vs. DC comic series, Batman and Captain America were the ones who fought each other, which shows a lot of character dynamic similarities between those two.
Yeah, they're very much almost like parallel characters within their respected universes.
Also, when they did the Amalgam Splicing series, when Batman was combined with Wolverine, Captain America was combined with Superman, which essentially was combining those two characters with invincible characters.
Right.
Like, with their properties were basically that they can't die.
Right. Yeah, and what we were saying too, we were kind of left off talking about how Batman's kind of the get shit done character within the DC universe, whereas Captain America is kind of that character within the Marvel universe. He's kind of he's your go-to guy.
Where I would look at Captain America as the the righteous hand of justice, sort of moral authority leader, whereas like Batman is more of the dark film noir detective type, like problem solving, but they still both have that management type.
Well, that's an interesting thing too. Is that when Batman was first conceived, he was more of almost more of a detective character.
Well, it's Detective Comics.
Yeah,
that's what DC is.
Yeah, and he was this kind of this gothic, kind of a darker character in general. Like I forgot what the examples were, but they have some really interesting examples online of all the really violent shit Batman would do to other villains, I guess you could say, or criminals, when his character first came out. And because a lot of people were giving Zack Snyder shit for having Batman actually kill people in Batman vs. Superman.
Yeah, he was fucking like running people over.
I didn't care. I didn't give a shit because
didn't he do that in the Dark Knight Returns? Like he was a jaded he was PTSD Batman
he would always say that he didn't kill, but there was a lot of scenarios within that movie where the stuff that he would do to people, they had to have died. I think what people freaked out about with Batman versus Superman was that he was actually using like guns and shit like that on his Batmobile. I think there's examples of it though in the very, very first Batman comics where he actually does use stuff like that, and he does kill people. And it's people like to have an idea. Number one, let's just get this out of the way. Nerds. I'm not talking like half nerds like us, because we're a couple of cool guys.
Yeah, we're
right?
pretty fucking sweet,
I'm
man.
talking
Like
about
we're like
nerds just love to pick shit apart and complain about shit nonstop. They'll take any fucking thing they can to complain about. So if they don't feel like they got exactly what they wanted out of it, then they'll just sit there and shit on it.
For sure.
And if Batman kills somebody, it's that goes against who he is, his character, and blah, 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 blah.
I have fun picking things apart because that's just how my brain works. I like to analyze and break things down. But just because you hear me critiquing something does not at all mean I didn't enjoy it.
No, absolutely.
I watch shitty movies all the time, and I love them.
Right, and there's a difference between...
You know how many times I've seen Pitch Black? I fucking love that movie.
That actually is a really good bad movie.
Yeah, right?
There's you can constructively criticize something and make valid points without completely shitting all over it and saying that it sucks because of one little thing.
Before we get too far away from this, though, I did want to mention, as you were talking about there being guns on the Batmobile and Batman shooting people and stuff, there is an Italian version of Batman and Robin where they have mustaches. I've seen this. Guns.
Yeah.
They shoot people. They do drive-bys from the Batmobile, and they bang all the chicks.
Very Italian.
Super Italian. Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, really, if you really think now, look, it's not comic book characters' jobs to be realistic. They're
or to adhere to a specific to your specific world. Like,
right.
It's Batman didn't do this. Batman doesn't exist. There is no Batman.
He does whatever. It could be whatever version of Batman that director wanted to put on screen.
Every character that you see in a comic book or a cartoon or even on a live action movie is a construct of a writer's mind and imagination. So every time you see a character with that name and that appearance, that concept is that different version of that character if it's done by a different person.
Right. You know, I remember this all the time in high school. Like, I remember in high school I would bring my graphic novels to class with me, and when I would get bored I would start reading my graphic novels, which was basically every day. And I remember people would ask me, like, oh, who's your favorite superhero? Like, what's your favorite character? I'm like, that's such a stupid question, because I don't have a favorite. You can take a shitty character, but if you have a good writer, then they're going to make that shitty character good. It's all about the writer.
Like, I don't really give a shit about The Flash. I don't really think The Flash is that interesting, but Flashpoint Paradox was one of my favorite of the animated
it was really
DC
good.
movies.
That was actually that's probably one of the only ones that I've actually like took the time and sit down to watch recently.
You should check out Justice League Dark. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't seen that
it's
yet.
Good, man.
I heard it was good. But yeah, Flashpoint Paradox was really, really good. Mm-hmm. Did you watch the Killing Joke adaptation that they did?
Oh, it's so weird, man. Did you see it?
So for those of you that haven't seen it, the Killing Joke is kind of it's a quintessential Batman story. Well, Joker story, really.
It's really
a classic. It's like the Joker story.
It is evolutionary in the background of the relationship between Batman and the Joker.
Yes.
I think there's so much rich there's so much rich novelty in that to take away, and like if you really want to break down characters and analyze them and know them, that one is that story is full of it.
Yeah, and it's a fairly short read too. So I mean, you can just sit down and knock that thing out in like an hour.
It's like a long comic book. That's it. It's not even like a full-on graphic novel.
And it's done by Alan Moore, which goes back to our other point. Good writer, good comic. Done by Alan Moore. But they did this really weird animated adaptation of it where it was pretty much the same as the comic for the most part, right? Except
let me break this down real quick, if you don't mind me taking the wheel on this one. So the first, it was definitely the first half of the movie. It may have been like 45 minutes, it may have been 30 minutes, I'm not sure. It was like a good amount of the movie was just completely like whatever they just scooped out of the garbage. Filler. It was just like it came from nowhere.
Yeah.
There's a point, all right, spoiler alert, but I'm not spoiling anything that, is gonna ruin your day, because this isn't even part of the graphic novel in any way. They just add in this gratuitous sexual relationship between Batman and Batgirl.
And they bone.
They straight up bone.
They get Batgarb.
Yeah, they fucking in Batgarb on a rooftop.
Yeah. And they make Batgirl look really like pathetic, right? Mm-hmm. Like she's like lusting like over Batman, and he finally is just like, yeah, all right, I'll do you.
Yeah, and there are other reasons if you know the story. I'm not going to get into it because I really don't want to spoil the Killing Joke for you. If you are interested in reading it, you definitely fucking should. It's a masterpiece. But there are reasons why like them doing that didn't make any sense. Like them adding Batgirl into the story at that point, them having this like charade about Batgirl's like, what was it? It was kind of like about her dating life and her like not being safe with guys.
Yeah, it was
and
really
stuff.
stupid.
Like,
it was like they brought in a group of fucking like if either really like geeky dudes or like some teenage girls or something, and they're it was almost like they were like, hey, let's hire the writers from Dawson's Creek and let's have them come in and write the first half of this movie.
Do a Batman Batgirl thing.
It was really stupid.
So that all aside, anything about that we can critique, it has the biggest problem with that is that none of that is from the comic. None of that was in the Killing Joke at all.
No,
and then
and it's so blatantly misplaced that you could take somebody who's never read the Killing Joke comic And they would probably even be able to go, they could see where it kind of descends from that. Like,
Right.
okay, this was clearly added in.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it just becomes almost a verbatim, like, adaptation of the comic or
Right.
of the graphic novel. It just like it goes from this point, and all of a sudden it was like, I know why they did it. It's too short of a comic, or it's too short of a graphic novel. Yeah, they needed to fill in time, but they just did it in such a weird way, and
It was really stupid though, because you know what? Just fucking fuck it. Just make a half-hour cartoon and throw that out there.
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Or they could have done like they could have thrown in like a little like half-hour mini documentary on the comic book, or there's so much other shit they could have done that would have made more sense than that.
Yeah, sure. They could have spent a little bit more time going. This is going to be a little bit of a spoiler. Never mind. I was going to say, well, I mean, it's not really going to give anything away. Within the comic, they have flashbacks of the Joker's life, like early on. So
Yeah, they could have added something to that.
They could have spent more time doing that. That would have been more appropriate.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was that's something I'm comfortable picking apart, because they took a really masterful piece of media and just shit all over it with that. Like,
Yes, indeed.
But I didn't totally hate it, because once they got to the actual storyline, they pretty much did it like dead on.
Yeah, and now I've been struggling with this. Is it bad that I got aroused when Batman did the deed with Supergirl?
You mean Batgirl?
Batgirl. I'm pretty sure if he did the deed with Supergirl, he would die.
Her vagina would clamp his dick off.
It would crush his bat junk, and there would be no Damian Wayne, and that would be the end of Batman.
Yeah, that would be it. Jesus Christ, can you imagine? She's just like, she has one little like twinge of pleasure or something, just snaps your dick right off. It's like, Jesus Christ.
I wonder, I feel like they had to have touched on that in the comics at one point.
No, dude, it's the same thing as like the whole Mallrats thing about like, like Superman, he'd blow a load through her back like a shotgun. Like,
well, isn't there something where Superman does get Lois pregnant, but like, the baby doesn't develop their powers until later on or some shit like that?
Do you remember Superman 2? When the old Superman movies?
No, you know what?
So,
get this. I've actually never really sat down and watched those movies all the way through.
Well, let me give you a little spoiler right now. So what happens is Clark Kent wants to be with Lois Lane,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't really say it in these words. They make it more like they're like, oh, well, you know, you're a protector and you have to live this life or you have to live the other life. And, you know, so what he does is he exposes himself to the red kryptonite and he gives up his powers so he can bang Lois Lane.
Oh yeah, I do remember this.
He couldn't bang her unless he gave her. That's not what they were saying. They were saying
that in the comic too, though. They've had a bunch. There's been a bunch of things like that where he gets exposed to red kryptonite and he has to lose his powers.
Yeah. And that was what happened in Superman 2. Is they were like, well, so. But he did it voluntarily so that he could bang Lois Lane. And then he gets beat up in a bar, and it's super funny.
Wouldn't that be kind of a bummer for Lois Lane, though? She's like
oh,
expecting
man.
this, like, super guy. And then she's like, oh, this is it? This is like every other guy that I've boned in college.
It's kind of more...
This is nothing special.
It's kind of more of a pussy because he's used to having superpowers.
Got his ass kicked in the bar.
Or no, it wasn't a bar, it was a diner. It was a diner.
That's even worse.
That's even worse. Who gets in a fight in a diner and loses?
Right, look, you get your ass kicked in a bar, you probably got jumped, or there should be somebody in the bar who could kick your ass if you're a normal dude. You're in a diner? Come on, man. Superman getting his ass kicked in a diner.
Dude, you know? Like,
it was like Seabass from Dumb and Dumber.
That's exactly what it was. It was Seabass from Dumb and Dumber. And it was weak-ass Clark Kent with his fucking glasses and shit. No superpowers.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Poor Clark Kent.
Poor fucking Clark Kent, man.
And that's why people love Bruce Wayne. All right, Bruce Wayne, he wouldn't be getting his ass kicked in that diner. Bruce Wayne, as a man, He'd be cracking skulls. He'd be smashing diner plates over dudes' heads. He'd be, man.
He'd be breaking diner plates into little bat shapes and throwing them like his little...
Yeah. Forks would become batarangs.
Yeah, exactly.
There was actually a really good... Did you ever read The Ultimates?
The Ultimate?
So The Ultimates was like... It came out in 2001. It was it's one of my favorite Marvel comics. It was when they first introduced like the Ultimate Marvel Universe, which was like updated versions of all their characters. The Ultimates was the ultimate version of the Avengers, basically.
Okay.
There's a really cool scene in the Ultimates 2 where Hawkeye's family gets killed, gunned down. And there's like this badass scene where it made Hawkeye look so cool, where they gun his family down and there's these agents like raiding his house, and he like stands up and he's like, "You guys shouldn't have dropped me in the kitchen," and he just starts like lighting dudes up with forks and knives, and that's when you find out that not only is he an expert marksman with a bow,
he's just in general,
he's like Bullseye from Daredevil. You give him anything and somebody's gonna die.
Any projectile.
Yeah.
You ever see? Did you ever watch Red vs. Blue?
No.
Oh man,
what is that?
It's Red vs. Blue. It was really big for a while. It actually had like I want to say it had like 6 actual full on seasons. And what it was it started off as literally just guys playing Halo online, but they would just record scenes selectively and they would do voices for them, and they were just really funny guys. They were like actual comedians, and they were, and they just made these characters, and it got so popular for a period of time that they started developing storylines. They had actual season, and then they started filling in episode parts with animation and stuff to make it like an actual show. You just reminded me of it because you were talking about Hawkeye. There's like one part where the guy's like, "We're like the Avengers." And the guy's like, "So who are you?" He's like, "Obviously I'm Tony Stark." And this guy's like, "More like Hawkeye." So Hawkeye from the movies or Hawkeye from the cartoon or Hawkeye from the comics? So definitely the movies. He just points his gun at him. He's like, "Take it back."
Yeah, nobody wants to be Hawkeye.
Dude,
I always really liked Hawkeye.
Well, nobody wants to be Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner. No offense, Jeremy Renner, if you're hearing this, you're fine.
You think they miscast him?
I just don't think he was cool in the movie. I don't know if that's the problem. I don't know.
You didn't like when they kind of like humanized him in Avengers 2 and they showed you like his family
and shit. I didn't like that was funny, but it wasn't like I just didn't find Hawkeye badass at all. I think it's a hard character to make into a movie character.
Yeah, it is.
He works better in the comics, but
yeah. Well, I mean, fucking think about it, dude. It's the same reason Green Arrow is hard. It's like it's a guy walking around with the bow and arrow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Silly. It's a hard character to sell, and it works in the comics. It just wasn't.
It worked really well, like for Green Arrow, like back in like the the Golden Age when he first, or I think Green Arrow might have been more Silver Age. Anyways, back a long fucking time ago when he first premiered, he had all kinds of ridiculous shit attached to his bows. Like he would have a bow that had a boxing glove, and he would just shoot it and like knock dudes out with it.
He has that in Injustice.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. Do you know Hawkeye's origin story?
Wasn't he in like a nah, I don't want to say and then ruin it. Or no, I don't remember. Wasn't he like a circus performer?
Yeah. He wasn't like a special forces fucking military guy.
He was like a trick shooter in a circus,
and his whole thing was he put on a costume. Like something happened like at a like he was putting on a show and something happened and the Avengers showed up and they like saved the day and shit, and he got all fucking bummed out because like the crowd started cheering for the Avengers, and he's like, "Those are my fans,"
because he was a villain at first, right?
Yeah, and so he started
and who did they had him paired up with somebody at first, I think.
Was probably it like the fucking West Coast Avengers or something?
No, he eventually became the leader of the West Coast Avengers.
That's right, he did, huh?
Yeah.
Like, I said that as a joke. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, he did.
I have a West Coast Avengers
they
comic.
had like a female counterpart that they had paired him up with. I don't remember.
I don't remember that, yeah.
It might have been Black Widow for a little while.
Fucking maybe. I don't know.
Who knows? She's a troglodyte in the movies. She gets around.
Oh,
Wasn't
dude.
she's
a
got
troublemaker.
some kind of weird thing going on with Hawkeye. She does Bruce Banner. Some kind of weird underlying sexual tension with Captain America.
Yeah, she's got Hawkeye friend zoned hard in the Avengers movie.
You could tell Hawkeye's like, man, I would bang this chick in a second if my wife wasn't back home.
I would kill my wife if this girl would just give it up.
I will bow and arrow my wife to death if I could get one crack at Black Widow.
I would pin her to the wall with my 2 children right in front of her like a shish kebab.
I not only have accuracy with my bow, but I have accuracy with my dick.
Got accuracy with my gun.
Yeah. We were also before we had technical difficulties earlier. We were covering some interesting fights that we have coming up, and one of them was tomorrow night is Fedor versus Mir, and we were kind of touching on.
Styles. We were touching on styles, yeah.
And I tended to agree with Keith that at least in their primes, I don't know about now. It's been a while since I've seen Frank Mir fight. But at least in their primes, I think Fedor stylistically is a pretty tough matchup for Mir because Mir has been shown that he can definitely be KO'd. I think Fedor would just be a touch too fast for him. But then again, when you look at something like the Fabricio Verdum fight where Fedor did get caught on the ground, maybe, you could stand to reason that maybe Mir could also catch him with something.
Not just speed, but also like freak accuracy that Fedor has that a lot of people don't really account for. Like he throws big wide shots from nowhere, but they land right on your chin. I don't know how he does it, but he does.
He does.
This is actually, we didn't even talk about this before we lost communications, but a really interesting factor to me about this fight is in Frank Mir's prime, he was not as big as he is right now.
No.
And Fedor was never a big heavyweight. And I think the size difference is a big factor here too, when as far as the styles go, because Frank Mir could potentially knock out Fedor, but his best bet is going to be wrestling with him and trying to tap him out.
Just being more physical than him, because that did become a big problem for Fedor as his career went on. Mm-hmm. Even when he was fighting guys like Brett Rogers, who was not a technical fighter by any means,
or a physical fighter. He was just a
bigger dude.
He was a big dude who could hit hard. That counted for a lot in Strikeforce heavyweights.
And then when you started to get into the guys. Like Bigfoot Silva and some of these other big guys who actually had some decent skill as well, he started to have even more trouble. Mm-hmm. Size could definitely be a factor. Frank Mir has gotten bigger over the years. His head has seemingly grown to be probably about twice the size.
I think his head is packing on scar tissue. Like his forehead has gotten
massive,
wrinklier and larger, but it looks like it's harder than it used to be.
It's a combination of I think probably some growth hormone and scar tissue, and just maybe he's been punched in the head so many times that it's now calcified and increased, because he literally looks like Brainiac from the Incredible Hulk. His head is giant.
Okay. I can see that.
Interesting point.
Yeah. Do you remember, did you ever hear him talk about this before he fought when he bulked up, when he first did that?
Yeah, when he fought Shane Carwin. Or no, it was prior to Shane Carwin. It was when he fought
going to fight. It was when he was trying to get that second fight with Lesnar.
And he thought that he was going to be able to match, and it's like, dude, Shane Carwin and Brock Lesnar strength, that you got to be born with. I mean, hey, don't get me wrong, they had their fair share of supplements as well.
Yeah, and spent their whole lives lifting to get that big. Supplements alone and genetics don't do that to you.
No.
What was interesting to me, though, was Frank Mir talked about how multiple times talked about, he's like, I haven't lifted weights since I was 16 years old. Something I did like in high school, and then he was big and muscular and had like large muscles. Which to me is strange. Like you can be fit and not lift weights, but to put on like a large amount of muscle like he had, that just didn't make sense to me, that he didn't do any weightlifting.
No, he Yeah, he was a big boy, and he
he was like a natural 240 pounder, 230 pounder
then
at least.
He shot up, but didn't he shoot up to 265 when he started lifting?
He was a full size heavyweight when he started lifting.
He started doing a bunch of compound lifts, and he really put on a lot of size. And but that's what was crazy though. I really feel like the heavyweight division has changed so much because Frank Mir at that size.
I got my history wrong, and it was after his second fight with Lesnar. It was when he was gunning for a third fight with him.
Right.
Because remember in his second fight with Lesnar, that was the best Frank Mir I've ever seen.
And I think that was the second fight with Lesnar. He was a little more lean.
Yeah, he was all lean and he had a lot of muscle, but he was super lean.
I think Frank Mir at in that state, that was his best chance at beating Lesnar.
Well, I think that was his. I think that was the best Frank Mir that we were ever going to see, and it's really unfortunate that we only saw it in that one fight.
Because then after that is when he tried to start adding on size, and it didn't really do him any favor. It helped him in certain fights, but then when you get it helped him in let's say, but I don't know, the Congo fight. All right, he beat Congo real quick, but he probably would have beat Congo anyways. Yeah, the same exact way. And then he got to the Carwin fight, and it's I
think it worked against him in the Carwin fight because he was ready to go muscle for muscle with a guy who had been lifting since he was an infant.
Yeah, and what you saw there is why there's a difference between. I mean, look, there's such a massive difference between a heavyweight because to be a heavyweight in the UFC, what's the limit? You got to be
265.
No, not sorry, it's not the minimum. What's the minimum? Is it anything above 205?
Anything above 205, yeah.
So that's crazy. So that means you could have a guy who's 206 fighting a guy who's 265.
Typically, if a guy's 206,
obviously
that's theoretical.
It's not going to happen.
If a guy's 206, he's going to cut that 1 pound.
But the point being is that what you're seeing there, Frank Mir versus Brock Lesnar and Frank Mir versus Shane Carwin, you're just looking at two fighters in two different weight classes. Frank Mir is not any less skilled than a Brock Lesnar or a Shane Carwin. Those guys are just too fucking big.
Yeah.
I mean, they're massive.
And that was what I was going to say, too, is when he got super lean for that second Lesnar fight, well, I think that was the best Frank Mir that we were ever going to see. It wasn't stylistically good for Lesnar because Lesnar, all he had to do was pancake him and just killed him.
Well, and the heavyweight division has changed so much because the heavyweight division had a little point there where it was just filled with gargantuan killers. You had probably in 2011, 12-ish, you had Brock Lesnar, Shane Carwin, Cain Velasquez, Junior Dos Santos, Alistair Overeem, Frank Mir. You had Fabricio Verdum. You had all these giant fucking dudes who were just absolute world-class heavyweights. Not to say that you don't have that anymore, but the division's thinned out a little bit, in my opinion.
Before whatever happened to him, Andrei Arlovsky was
he was on a nice little. He was that
guy. I mean, he's still good. He's still you watch him fight.
He won his last fight.
He beat Struve. I was there. Yeah.
You saw that.
Yeah, it was good. And the thing is, but it's there's an obvious difference in his performance now.
Absolutely.
But he was he was phenomenal when he when he was champion, he had that really odd sort of rivalry with Tim Sylvia, which is just
it was an odd rivalry. It was kind of
it wasn't really a rivalry. It was just that they were the two top dogs.
That's what I was going to say. It wasn't so much a rivalry as it was this is what you get. This is what we got right now, guys.
Yeah, and I mean
these are our only two heavyweights, so we're making a rivalry out of it.
Right. That's the thing. It wasn't really a rivalry. It was just it was weird that to me that Tim Sylvia rivaled him when he was that good. It was just that size and the fact that Tim Sylvia knew how to use it.
I don't think Arlovsky was I might be getting my facts wrong, I'm not sure, but I feel at that point, because he was still pretty young at that point, I feel he wasn't very experienced.
Right.
So I think it was just because it was more to do with that. He was just kind of a physical guy, but he just didn't have that, because they very much I've heard a lot of fighters talk about this actually, where they say that they kind of just marketed Arlovsky as the baddest dude on the planet, but at no point was he ever really the baddest dude on the planet.
I remember watching him fight, and I never really, when I was a kid, I didn't really pay attention to any marketing. I didn't really.
Yeah.
I was too dumb to even recognize it when it was happening. But I would judge the fighters by what I saw.
Yeah.
And
then you see Arlovsky coming out, and he's got vampire fangs, and he looks like a goddamn Wolverine. And
and I would just watch him like chew people the fuck up when you know, during that time. Like I don't remember who I first saw him fight, but I do remember watching him fight Paul Quintello, and which it was such a funny interview to me because Paul Quintello would be like he was on there talking about it's like Andrei Arlovsky's just this terrifying Belarusian monster who's just like got vampire fangs, and like they ask him a question and he just looks at the camera like, huh? Like, like he didn't have an answer. He just, I don't even think he heard you. He's just like ready to eat something. And Paul Quintello is talking about himself, and he's like, what he doesn't understand is that I have more heart than anyone. I have the most heart. I have so much heart. And I always thought, like, that's not really something you say about yourself. That's something other people say about you. That's like
most definitely that is something that somebody else would have to bestow upon you.
That's like giving yourself a nickname.
Yeah, you know, so it looks like Arlovsky did have a nice little win streak before he fought Tin Sylvia.
He had like a knockout streak.
Yeah,
he was knocking everybody out.
He had a TKO over even Ian Freeman. He KO'd Matt Yushchenko. TKO
That's the one I
Wesley
remember.
Carrera. But prior to that, in 2002, he had 2 back-to-back losses to Rico Rodriguez and then Pedro Hizzo.
Rico Rodriguez was big and a wrestler. And I think that was probably stylistically tough for, because Arlovsky wasn't like a full-size heavyweight back in those days, I don't think. Was he?
No, I think he was.
Was he? I thought he was like a 240.
I don't think, no, well, has he ever weighed above 240?
He fucking does now, man. He's a full-size now, but he's fat.
He, I think he's always kind of floated around. Well, they have him listed at 242, but I think he's kind of always floated around that weight.
I thought he was going in at 265 now, but maybe I'm just crazy.
I think he's just his muscle turned into.
Yeah, that could be it. He just looks big because he's so soft now. But Rico Rodriguez, I think, was just probably too big, and Pedro Hizzo, we're not gonna. No comment there. That's a scary man. Like when he was still in action, that guy was a fucking monster. I heard a lot of people say that he's the hardest kicker that there's ever been.
Oh yeah, Randy Couture. He says he still has. He permanently had a dent in his leg after that fight. Pedro Hizzo, that's another interesting one because it's one where you feel like I always felt like, and he's not really even that old right now. He's 43.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought he was like 100 because he looked like he was 43 when he was 12. Like that guy has an old man face.
No, he does. Yeah, he definitely does. But yeah, man, that guy's got a lot of big names on his record.
Pedro Hizzo? Dude, he's a legend. He's like one of the original legends.
Yeah, Josh Barnett, Dan Severn. Yeah, this guy fought everybody. He did have I never even realized he had back-to-back losses to Randy Couture. Yeah. Randy Couture, man, he just had one of those styles where he could just fucking just meat grind you.
He just shuts people down.
He could. If you didn't have the will to beat Randy Couture, you weren't beating Randy Couture.
Right. I don't think will is the answer. I think you had to
because you can't out-will him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like if you go in trying to be tougher than Randy Couture,
right,
and beat him through sheer force of will, you're definitely not going to.
Yeah, it was more so you need to have the firepower.
Yeah,
because like if you look at the guys that beat him, like Chuck
Liddell, like Chuck Liddell was his kryptonite, and like you had to. And the thing is, you had to have the firepower, and you needed to.
You need to have a good enough takedown D.
Yeah, and you needed to land it. That was the thing. You needed to land that firepower.
Yeah. And if you didn't have the takedown D, then you weren't going to land the punch, and that's what Chuck Liddell had.
Sure. I don't know how this is coming out on the mic, but like this is only recording out of this part. Right?
Oh, okay.
Just so you know. So if you're like off to the side, it's going to come in distorted.
Okay.
But I was just pointing that out because you keep like getting farther away. I'm like, I don't know how this is recording.
My posture is lacking.
Yeah, he's disappointing me here.
One thing we were talking about earlier was how the difference in we were talking about how heavyweights need more time to recover in between fights because bigger bones smashing against each other, the internal force of their body, just it's more force in general. Heavier bones, heavier bodies, more force,
more damage on their tendons and ligaments and joints because they have more weight. Every step they take is more impact on their knees and their ankles. And so we're saying, they need more time to recover, or they need more steroids, which is why during that time period, Pride had a lot of the best heavyweights.
Yeah,
so they didn't need as much time to recover.
No,
we'll just put it that way.
They could take like 4 fights in a night.
Yeah.
Well, and what I was saying earlier is that kind of a silly segue, but I have my marathon coming up on Sunday. And one thing I noticed was that when I started training for this, my body just didn't recover as quickly in between runs like it used to. And I think a big part of that is due to the fact that, compared to when I was running when I was younger and I was 175 pounds, compared to now being 195 pounds, it's just more force on your body when you're running. It's like now you've got an extra 20-pound weight vest on. So it kind of forced me to change my running style a little bit too. Like I had to take shorter strides. It kind of changed my gait to be a little more low impact. But I'll be happy to get this over with. But I can kind of, I guess, compare it to that in a way, just as an example of a bigger body. It's more force basically.
Sure, and I can attest to that as well. My weight fluctuates a lot. Like if I'm in fight camp, my weight's going down the whole time. When I'm out of fight camp, even when I'm in training and I'm out of fight camp, my weight definitely shoots back up. And we're talking about like a 20-pound difference, which you think about 20 pounds. It's a significant amount of extra impact when it's in motion.
Right.
Just imagine someone throwing a 20-pound weight at you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's a lot. Or dropping a 20-pound weight on you, I should say. Like if you just are sitting there and someone drops a 20-pound weight on your knee, it's probably gonna fuck your knee up. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're just chucking bones at each other.
And now we're talking about guys who are carrying 100 pounds more than some of their colleagues.
Right. Yeah.
And that's 100 pounds at the weigh-ins. Not 100 pounds. Not 100 pounds like while they're actually fighting. I think a really good example of this. If you guys want to see this in action, check out Travis Brown when he fought Bigfoot.
Yeah,
because he was tuning Bigfoot up. He had him on all accounts everywhere. He was aggressively using footwork, like too much, to the point where it was like excessive. It was like he was doing stuff that didn't need to be done. And he was jumping around, and he was jumping like from one foot to the other, and all of a sudden out of nowhere he like takes a step and blows his knee out, and then just like basically just falls. He's like, oh shit, and then Bigfoot just jumped on top of him and handled him. And I literally, like, Travis Brown's not a thick looking guy. He's tall, he's slender, but it's a lot of weight going down on those knees when you move around that much.
Right.
Yeah,
that was that's an interesting case because man, he really had a sharp decline. Travis Brown did.
Sure did, yeah.
He went
and it seemed like it was his decline was his decline to beard ratio was just directly inversly related. Like,
it may have been.
As his beard got bigger,
well, it was that, and a lot of people will attribute it to when he went over and started training with Rousey's coach Edmund, and who knows? I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know a lot of what goes on behind closed doors at Glendale Fight Club. I don't want to speculate on things that I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
But what I will say is they took fighters who were already ahead of the game, that were already doing well.
Yeah.
And then they went and fought out of Glendale Fight Club, and they either continued to do well and eventually didn't, but like they didn't have anybody come out of Glendale Fight Club. Not that I know of.
No.
I don't know of any fighters who, who came from there, and I don't know of anyone else that they had other than Travis Brown and Ronda Rousey.
No, those are the only. Well, and Travis Brown was already established
That's what I'm saying.
Before. So
was Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, the only guess I guess like Manny Gambarian was the only other kind of notable fighter to fight out of there.
Which no hate there. Manny Gambarian's a formidable person,
he's
but
a solid
he's not
fighter.
like we're not talking about like he was top shelf.
No. Didn't you fight somebody out of that club or no?
No, I fought a guy out of what the fuck is it called? Go Course Camp.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Highest end.
Yeah.
Yeah, those Armenians. They're good guys. I like Armenians. I like that they're a fighting culture.
Definitely are, right?
Yeah,
that's what I've heard. I don't know too many Armenians, but
dude, come to LA. They're everywhere, especially Glendale.
Well, yeah. Well, my wife is Persian, so it's like similar, I guess, from what I'm told.
There's Persian Armenians and there's Russian Armenians, and they're exactly the same.
We don't want to stereotype here, guys, but they're exactly the same.
But if you've ever met an Armenian, you've met them. No, I'm just kidding.
You met one Armenian, you met them all.
No. Yeah, it's definitely like it's one of those cultures. It's like they're very immersed in the fight game. It's like any gym you go to, you're probably gonna run into like a handful of Armenians. I don't know what the deal is about it, but like you could easily walk into a gym and see no white people. You could easily walk into a gym and see no Asian people. You could easily walk into a gym and see no Mexican people. But you're walk into a fight gym, you're gonna see some Armenian people.
This is true. Well, another thing I wanted to talk about was some more media-related stuff.
Before we get back onto that, I completely forgot I have something for you. I'll be right back.
All right. Keith is just running to grab something here, ladies and gentlemen. He's marching across the room very intently, focused, determined.
I wanted you to borrow this.
So it's a copy of DC Comics Injustice Gods Among Us Year 1. We were talking about this in the last podcast.
We were talking about it in the first one.
The first podcast. Very interesting concept where Superman essentially becomes a god and kind of
well, he's already a god.
He's already a god, but he becomes like an evil god. And he kind of takes over the DC universe.
I would love for you to, while we're talking here, just look at the first couple pages, because like the way it goes down, like the way Superman loses his shit is so cool, man. Like they nailed it. I don't think it could have been better. I don't want to give any spoilers away. I just want to get Matt's reaction. If you guys get the chance, I really recommend it. It's a great read. It's worth your time, and it's also a good amount of time to get through. It's a nice, thick graphic novel. A lot of material.
Okay, I see here.
You see what happened?
Yeah. Now is this similar? This kind of like very much. This is very much kind of similar to what happened in. The video game was based off this, right?
The video game was based off of this, but they added they manipulated the story a lot in the video game.
But I do remember some of these plot points from the video game.
Sure, yeah.
Very interesting. I'll definitely read this and check this out.
Good. I'm looking forward to your input. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. It'll actually be the first like superhero comic I've read in quite some time. A lot of the comics I've been reading lately are more kind of indie comics.
Would you like one of these?
No, sure, actually, yeah. A lot of indie comics, kind of more grounded subject matter. But if I do read a superhero comic these days, I love when it is something like this, where they take familiar characters and kind of bring in this new concept, I guess you could say.
They flip it on its axis. They change the conditions surrounding these characters that are already familiar to us. We all know who Superman is, and we all know, obviously, in a world where Superman exists, if he were to become a villain, we'd all be fucked.
Right.
Which is what makes this so interesting.
Absolutely. You know what I wanted to talk about? Let's make a hard turn here. I wanted to talk about Bill Cosby. Because
Let's talk about Bill Cosby.
I know. I remember before this was years ago. And I remember we were talking about comedians. And then I remember you were telling you loved Bill Cosby.
I grew up on Bill Cosby. Yeah. I watched all the Cosby shows.
Right, yeah. And I have a lot of other friends who also grew up on Bill Cosby. I mean, I'm sure everybody does. Bill Cosby was huge.
Yeah, I was gifted his albums and everything. I listened to them while on my little CD player in my room when I was a kid. That was what I grew up on.
Now, me personally, at the time, from what I remember telling Keith was I didn't like Bill Cosby because I just thought he was corny. I think. Yeah. I think it was good when I was growing up. I was always around a lot of my uncles and stuff, and they would expose me to like a lot of like dirtier comedians. Mm-hmm. So I think from a very young age, I was just kind of had this attitude of like, oh, they have to be like a Sam Kinison, they have to be like dirty or Richard Pryor to be funny, So I just wasn't exposed to that style of comedy. But the main thing that I didn't like about Bill Cosby was, and I guess it's easy to say now in retrospect, but I despised his like holier than thou attitude.
Sure.
He was always on these talk shows talking about how these young black men need to pick up their pants, and he was always just shitting on everybody, it seemed like.
And I never knew about that when I was younger, so I never paid attention to any of that. The only Bill Cosby stuff that I saw was his stand-up comedies and his TV shows.
Now, from what I understand, I only saw his show a few times. I never really saw too much of his stand-up, but even till this day, even a lot of the comedians who don't really care for Bill Cosby, they'll still be the first ones to say that his comedy is like genius. He's very highly touted in regards to his stand-up comedy stills. Yeah, exactly. However, at the filming of this podcast, where I think it was just like yesterday or the day before when they convicted him, he was convicted. He was actually convicted of some of the those rape allegations.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know,
that just happened.
It just happened. They officially convicted him. It actually happened, which I think I didn't think they were going to.
I didn't either,
because I was just gonna. I kind of assumed that it was just more or less like a statute of limitations type thing, where how are you going to find evidence?
How are you going to really legitimately prove it aside from word of mouth
40 years later after the fact, or 30 or however many years?
Sure.
But from what I understand, Bill Cosby did admit to it in some cases. Mm-hmm. That's what I had heard. I don't know. I'm not well informed enough about it, but I heard that Bill Cosby did admit to like giving women quaaludes and things like that.
Most of my news on this subject comes from like listening to other podcasts,
right?
And I don't really want to provide secondhand information. I don't want to say stuff. I heard this here. I heard that. Like I'd hate to be. I mean, I believe the stuff that I hear.
Yeah.
But and it sounds logical and reasonable. But I would be essentially just quoting the Joe Rogan podcast. That would be kind of
one thing I know for sure that I have heard is like a fact is like as far as the allegations go, they're like in the 40s.
Sure,
there's a crazy amount.
Bill Cosby raped everyone from what of it. Like,
well, there is a crazy amount of women that came forward. Mm-hmm. So even if only a small fraction of those were true, let's say 5 of them are true, and then the rest of them are just money grabs where they're thinking this is an opportunity.
Yeah.
Even if it was just 5, that would still be like, oh, that's kind of a lot.
If it was any, it's
if
a
it was
lot.
Any, right?
Like all of a sudden,
I guess you can't quantify. That's one rape too many.
I could have forgiven 1 or 2 rapes, but
3 rapes.
Like,
now
hey,
we're
man,
getting a little out of control here.
You crossed a line once you started raping. Like, once I need to start counting on my fingers how many people you've raped. No, I definitely 1 is too many. But it's also like I get what you're saying though. The severity of it increases like substantially when you go from being a rapist to being a serial rapist.
Right. Yeah. Now you're talking about somebody who you could say, if you have somebody who one time gave somebody a quaalude and did that, it's obviously still a horrible thing to do. That goes without saying. But when you get up in the 40s, if the allegations are true, that's when it becomes like this guy is like a straight up like psychopath level. You know, that's insane.
Well,
levels.
that's when you're like you think about, okay, there are a lot of people who have done terrible things that are not essentially that are not inherently evil people. There's mental illness. There's so much that constitutes bad behavior. Not in any way defending rape, but even in our criminal justice system, rape is not a life sentence. You know, like it's something that it happens. It's horrible. You're a rapist for life now. That's who you are.
Right.
But you're considered eligible for rehabilitation.
Right.
Now there is a point that you cross at some point. I don't know what number it is, but you get to a point where it's like you're a serial rapist. You exist. Your existence is a threat to other people. It's the thing that you do most consistently
is rape
with other people is rape, is harm other people. Not even specifically just that it's rape, but the fact that what your primary interaction with other people in the world is harming them.
Right.
And I mean, I'm sure this is to some degree arguable, but I believe that it is harming them for life. You're affecting somebody's mental and physical well-being for their entire life.
Yeah,
so,
you almost can't even, I mean, I guess it could be argued, but no, but at the same time, you almost can't even argue that. That's gonna...
Well, I mean, I'm saying that because I have never been raped.
Right,
as far as I know.
Yeah.
To my fullest awareness, I'm not a victim of rape, so I can't speak to the...
There's a first time for everything, Keith. No.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
He most definitely is. It's pretty crazy. I mean, if you would have told... Right, so let's just break this down. If 10 years ago, you would have told people that, well, Bill Cosby's a serial rapist, Donald Trump is the president... there's just all these wacky things that are going on that you just like. It's kind of remarkable, right?
Yes and no, but it's more about like the way that it's being exposed now because I want to say I have to talk about the stuff that I've been hearing in the podcast now because other podcasts that I listen to talk about the Bill Cosby thing a lot. And one of the things that they said is a lot of people who knew Bill Cosby personally and a lot of the people who had interactions with him personally, they were like, we're pretty sure he does fucked up shit. Like, there's a lot of speculation in his behavior, and they would talk about how like he would make jokes and be very casual about the fact that he would drug women.
Right.
Like, so that actually was not as surprising. Like, it was for me as a little kid growing up listening to a stand-up comedy.
From public perception.
Yeah.
It was surprising, but I guess not for those in the know.
Yeah. For socially, people who had personal interactions with him, apparently he was a fucking creep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and
but that's all hearsay as well. I don't know that. And it could be hindsight's 2020. Like people could be looking back and being like, well now, yeah, of course.
Well, how crazy is it that with just like with how the internet is now and how everything just spreads like wildfire? How crazy is it that this wasn't even really talked about that much before that one joke by Hannibal Buress, and then that was it. That was what prompted all of this. Hannibal Buress told a joke about, I don't remember what the joke was, but this was a couple years back. And he made a joke where he said, people forget that Bill Cosby raped somebody. And like he just brought up the fact that Bill Cosby had been accused of rape in the past.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, like just the media just coming out the woodwork.
Wow.
Started to hear all these stories, and it was that.
Bill
makes
Cosby,
you wonder.
He probably has a dartboard in his room with Hannibal Buress' face.
That's what I'm thinking. It makes you wonder if Hannibal Buress had never told that joke, if it would have came out, because
Damn
Hannibal! The scene in Billy Madison where Steve Buscemi, he's got the people to kill list. That's Bill Cosby, and Hannibal Buress is at the top of that list.
He's number one on the list.
He's got to be. How could he not be?
It might be his people to rape list. The way that this
or
conversation.
that.
I don't know
Or
that.
that.
He only rapes women. He might rape Hannibal Buress out of spite.
I'm pretty sure Bill Cosby wants to give Hannibal Buress Quaalude. There is no doubt in my mind that he wants to give Hannibal Buress Quaalude. He must. How could he not?
Man.
And what a shame that he's going to do.
What a shame.
Probably, quite possibly spend the rest of his life in prison. Maybe.
And he'll never get the chance to rape.
He'll never get the chance to rape.
Buress.
One last rape.
Oh man,
Hannibal Buress.
There's a good chance he'll be the one getting raped in prison. I don't know. He might just be too old. I don't know how the prison culture is.
Yeah, I don't know. They're gonna have to put him in some kind of special, like, blue collar, maximum security type deal. And at this point, Bill Cosby's like, how old is he? Fucking, he's up there, man. He's
got to
like,
be 1,000. I saw him at the Shoemash. Had to be like at least 5 years ago. Probably more than that though. I saw him at the Shoemash, and he looked like he had one foot in the grave.
yeah, he's up there. He's got to be. Let's see here. I'm gonna Google his age. Yeah, he's 80 years old. So
That's younger than I thought.
yeah. That is actually younger than I thought too, because I was thinking he was closer to like 90. Yeah, but I guess he's awaiting a sentence right now. He's convicted, free on bail with restrictions, and awaiting sentence.
Well, good.
So,
I think that's great. I think it was really hard to like have Bill Cosby be an integral part of my like childhood experience, and then all of a sudden as an adult I'm like, well, he's a rapist. He's one of the worst things you could be. It's very like Bill Cosby absolutely influenced a lot of my life. Like the way my brain works was definitely like to some degree influenced by the comedy and characters portrayed by Bill Cosby. And then just for all of a sudden to be like, he's basically Satan. It was like, okay.
Well,
so he should go to prison.
I think
whatever's left of his life.
I think at the end of the day, of course he deserves to go to prison, but I think at the end of the day, people just got to put perspective on it. Dave Chappelle had a really good joke about it where he was talking about Bill Cosby, and he was like, you see, he does good, but he rapes. He saves, but he rapes.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you can't take the lessons and the values that Bill Cosby promoted with his brand of comedy, and you can still find a lot of good in that. It's just that, you just can't, people can't take, what they gotta do is they gotta stop taking these big, pop culture icons and turning them into heroes, because they're people just like everybody else, and they're flawed.
I think I know where you're going with this, and I actually have a really similar point, and I couldn't agree more, because I was talking about the whole Kevin Spacey thing with somebody. I think it was my sister. We were talking about it, and she mentioned, like, I was saying I wasn't clear about the details. I knew he was like doing some molestery things, and then my sister was like, "Oh yeah, he's a pedophile." And I was like, all right. So he's a pedophile, so he's horrible. But he's not exclusively a pedophile. He's a great actor. That is a person who he's provided content that has enriched our lives. He's provided things that has like made our lives better. Am I never gonna watch it? Am I never gonna watch one of his movies again? I'm definitely gonna watch movies of his.
Course,
like, he's a great actor who's made great pieces of art, and I'm not condoning pedophilia by enjoying something beautiful that person made.
Absolutely, the art is not that. First of all, okay, let's just break down. Like, if you were to take the Cosby Show, okay, Bill Cosby didn't create every aspect of that show. He was a big influence, but they had a team of writers.
But even if he did, like that's the point I'm making.
Right.
Even if he did, that's not celebrating his rape. That's not celebrating him being a rapist. It's celebrating something isolated. Like I think people jump hard on a side. They condemn you black and white as good or bad, good or evil. And they go, here's something bad you did. Now everything good you ever did doesn't count anymore.
Yeah. No, people want to draw a hard line. And I think it
people just aren't black and white. It's not that simple.
No, and I think when it comes to putting stuff out there in the media and things like that, people just want that kind of quick headline. They want that black or white answer. They want so-and-so's a piece of shit, so-and-so's a scumbag, instead of it just doesn't work that way. Anytime you have to dig deep for a more complex answer, it can't be condensed into one headline. It requires a conversation like this. You have to sit down and you have to talk about it and discuss it. And when you can't get that quick screen grab, whatever it is you're trying to get across, then people tend to kind of gravitate away from it. And that's
what we do is we let one aspect of a person's character define them entirely. They just lose everything else.
Right.
When they're people. I think three-dimensional is a understatement to describe how people are. We're more than three-dimensional. We're omnidimensional. There's so many levels to every person you've ever met in your entire life. There's so much. The simplest, most boring person in the world, the blankest object of a person that you meet, has so much depth beyond what you see or experience of them.
Absolutely.
And if you just take the single most outstanding thing from a person, a lot of the time it's going to be a bad thing.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that good hasn't come of that human being. The world isn't in some ways, or sometimes even in more expressive ways, made the world a better place by that person being here.
Right.
Bill Cosby raped, let's say, 40 women, just to say that. Bill Cosby raped 40 women. He did an immeasurably horrible thing to 40 people. How many millions of people have gotten joy from Bill Cosby? How many millions of people have had hours of enjoyment and laughter and moral guidance from Bill Cosby?
Right.
He should still be punished for his crime, but let's just remember there's two sides.
Yeah, doesn't mean you have to discard everything that person has ever been associated with.
Yeah.
Have you heard the story about, there's this actress she was on Smallville. Her name is Allison Mack. And she has recently, she played a character named Chloe Sullivan on Smallville, who was kind of like a computer geek who would help Clark Kent kind of get information on people. And she was played his buddy. And she was recently charged with human trafficking. So
Jesus Christ.
This is one of the, there's got to be a documentary that's going to come out of this or something. I was shocked by this because I used to love Smallville. I mean, I still do, but it is nuts. She was apparently a part of this, what is called a cult. God, what is this cult called? The cult itself, I don't know what it's called. So it's pronounced Nexium. It's NXIVM. Nexium is a multi-level marketing organization that offers personal and professional development seminars. But apparently, that's not really what they do. What they really are is a cult. Rainier, the guy who runs this thing is called Keith Rainier, and him and Allison Mack.
How dare he sully my name?
I know, right? I didn't even realize that.
You know how few Keiths there are? We can't afford to have any fucking bad seeds in this community.
Him and other members, including Allison Mack, were arrested on federal charges of sex trafficking.
This literally sounds like the plot line for an episode of Law and Order SVU.
It really does. I mean, it's pretty fucking insane. And they found all this weird shit after that Allison Mack had done, where typical pyramid scheme shit, where she was messaging other actresses out in the open on Twitter saying, hey, so-and-so, I've been meaning to talk to you for a while. There's an opportunity I wanted to talk to you about that's really, really interesting. And you know how when people are running pyramid schemes, that's what they always say.
It's always an opportunity.
There's an opportunity coming your way. It's always some bullshit.
I want you to catch this thing at the ground level. There's an opportunity coming your way, you know?
Exactly. So, apparently they were taking under two of the counts, I believe, were something in the neighborhood of taking underage girls and like branding them and shit. So I mean, this was like some serious shit that she's getting charged with. It's just crazy because she played like the most wholesome character in that show.
I know that name, Allison Mack.
Yeah.
I can't think of her face right now. I know that name for sure.
Here's what it says. On April 24th, Mack was bailed on a $5 million bond and held under... Who the fuck? I don't know who paid that. And held under house arrest under the custody of her parents in California. She was charged with recruiting women into DOS, or The Vow, a sex cult propagated by Nexium that presented itself as a woman's self-help group. Isn't that something?
Well, isn't that something?
That is...
Yeah. A women's self-help group. How predatory. That's so intense, man. Okay, I'm advertising as a women's help group. Women who need help. Women who are in a vulnerable state. Probably mentally, probably need somewhere to go, probably somewhere to sleep, somewhere to get their next meal. I don't know what situations they're capitalizing on, but they're taking already victimized women and then trafficking
and victimizing them further.
Well, it's victimizing them like
it's a classic like pimp type deal, right? You find a woman who's has father issues and appears weak, and you take them, and that's like their whole philosophy. That's what Charles Manson based his whole deal off of.
Sure, but that's going. Well, yeah. We're gonna bring up Charles Manson. Yeah, I mean that was a.
But we'll save that for another podcast.
That's gonna be a whole other thing. But I mean, like when you were relating into like the pimp thing, it's like sure, they get sort of socially enslaved in that, but it's like when you're really trafficking women into sex slave trade and shit,
it's a little different.
Like it's not just victimizing them. You're victimizing them like completely. Like that is it for you. That's
absolutely.
You're probably not going to be kept alive once you're not like young and pretty anymore. You know,
and apparently she was in Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
Okay.
And Camp Nowhere.
Wow. So, so I did grow up with Allison Mack. I know her name. I just I can't think of her face.
I don't remember. I haven't seen Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves in quite some time. So I don't even remember. I do remember. It's been a while.
I did watch a classic from that generation recently because I felt the need. I watched The Last Starfighter.
I've never seen The Last Starfighter.
It is like a tremendous piece of crap.
Is it really?
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's been so long since I've seen it. I saw it on like PBS or something when I was a kid.
No way.
I don't remember what channel I saw it on, but I watched it on TV when I was a kid, and it was just this really intense like thing as a kid, there's aliens and stuff, but it was like going back and watching it again as an adult, it was just like everything about it was so bad. Like,
okay, now you want to hear some crazy shit?
Okay.
I just Wikipedia'd The Last Starfighter. On our last podcast, I was having trouble remembering the name of the guy who played Michael Myers in Halloween.
Oh,
and
yeah,
who will also be playing him in the upcoming Halloween. His name was Nick Castle. You want to know what else Nick Castle did? He directed The Last Starfighter.
Yeah.
You want to know what else Nick Castle directed? Major Payne.
Fuck yeah.
And there's some other movies here, but Major Payne was the only one that really jumped out at me.
That's a trip. That's really interesting.
How crazy is that, though? Michael Myers directed The Last Starfighter. You learn something new every day.
I didn't know that, but I thought because I've seen him out of costume before, like holding the
mask. He's kind of a goofy looking dude.
Yeah. Well, I thought he kind of looked similar to the guy who stars in The Last Starfighter.
Oh, maybe was he in it?
I don't think it's the guy. No, I don't think he is.
Starring Lance Guest.
Guest starring Lance.
Lance, the guest. Yeah, I've still never seen. And I've heard this movie talked about a lot because it's actually a bit of a cult classic, from what I understand.
Well, I think it was a mainstream classic, to be honest. I don't think it was a cult classic. I think now it's considered a cult classic because it's so bad. You have to really be. You have to intentionally know.
You got to know what you're getting into when you're watching The Last Starfighter.
I really like. I'm gonna like zip back to my notes because I did take some notes on this one. There was one particular thing that stood out to me. So they have. He gets taken. I didn't take a lot of notes. It was just that it was depressingly bad. I was watching and I was getting like uncomfortable with how bad of a movie it was. But there's this thing. They address the fact that he can talk to the aliens. So they give him this little like implant thing, you know. And then he makes buddies with this alien who can't stop laughing at his own jokes and is just really awkward the whole time. And then at the end of the movie, they bring him back from the war that he just won after defeating like an entire army of enemy ships by himself. They come back and the alien just starts talking to everybody from this guy's trailer park. All the people are just like hanging out and they're just like, "Well, who are you?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm his buddy." Like, and they're all like, "Oh, okay, I guess it's cool."
It's like almost like you know what I call that? I've developed a term for it, and it's probably already out there.
A plot hole?
No, but
I've heard that one before.
I've developed a term for that. How you said that the neighbors very kind of nonchalantly spoke to this alien.
Yeah, but also they could understand the alien language.
Right. Okay. Now there's got to be. Now what I'm talking about in particular is just the fact that
how cheesy that is that they just were like, all right.
But I don't know what this is called. There's got to be a name for it, but I call it the Teenwolf effect. And it's kind of like
everybody's just cool with it all of a sudden.
Yeah, nobody really notices. Like it's like in Teenwolf where he starts becoming a wolf, and they're like, "Hey, this is awesome. There's a wolf on the basketball team."
Yeah, he's playing basketball.
And nobody really takes the time to ponder the existential crisis that is a werewolf is now on our basketball team.
And we have no idea what this could possibly mean for us. All of a sudden we know that there's werewolves. And there's been one amongst us.
Think about that.
Yeah.
So I've coined the term the Teenwolf effect.
I think it's a great.
You'll see this in movies, so that's an example of that.
That's a great name for it.
I haven't seen The Last Starfighter, so all I have to go off of is what I have in front of me here. But I just pulled up a picture of one of the aliens, and he literally looks like a turd with eyeballs.
That's him. That's the one.
This is the most god awful alien design.
That's the one who can't stop laughing at his own jokes.
Oh my god, this is horrible. He looks like he looks like one of those really shitty looking Star Wars puppets that would have been at the cantina scene, you know?
Yeah, but like way worse.
But worse, yeah. This guy is
looks like they just like took an actor and smeared shit all over his face. But you know what?
They dunked him in a fucking porta potty.
Let's talk about a really good alien movie from that same generation, because that guy actually reminds me of the alien. Have you ever seen Enemy Mine starring Dennis Quaid?
I have not.
That's a great movie. It's
I'm gonna look that up right now too.
Enemy Mine is a very. It looks like an action movie. It looks like it's this like action movie between Dennis Quaid and this alien.
By the way, you're right. He does look just like it.
Yeah. So that's what he reminds me of. So Enemy Mine.
Wait, you know who this guy looks like from Enemy Mine? He kind of looks like the early version of Cell from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, he does. He does. I've never really thought about that, but you're right. So Enemy Mine is a very like humanistic and I know that's a weird way to describe a movie about an alien, but it's like a humanistic dramatic experience where Dennis Quaid and this alien are fighting against each other in a space battle, and they end up both getting marooned on this planet together. And
so it's kind of like a buddy cop movie, but it's Dennis Quaid and an alien.
Right, and it's not like funny at all. It's a very serious movie.
Straight up action.
Yeah. No, it's not action.
Wait,
no.
So what do they do?
It's like a survivor movie, and they end up
so they're like helping each other survive.
They throughout all their time together, they become like codependent because they have to they like rely on each other to survive. And
that is a very odd plot,
dude. It's super weird, but I'm telling you, it's a really good movie. Like it's a kind of movie that like I guess it's sort of it's definitely kind of sappy in that sense, and it's old, so it's going to be dramatic in a different kind of way too. It's not going to be as relatable, but it's a really good piece on like
probably almost takes on like a racial type deal, where it's like, you know, all people need to get along, and
kind of it does, but it really like it addresses the whole like you're only really my enemy because we don't speak the same language. Like they learn each other's language throughout the time they're there together, and then they like I don't want to like give anything away if you ever like decide to watch it, but
all right, well, what I can tell you is that I'm watching the trailer for it on YouTube right now, and I just saw the strangest fucking thing. If I am correct,
it's been a while since I've seen it too, so I can't really like say too much.
What I see here, there's an alien. He's dying. Dennis Quaid. It kind of looks like that scene in Tropic Thunder where Robert Downey Jr. and Ben Stiller at the beginning. He's dying. He's like, "I'll see you later, man. I gotta go." You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So it's like that, and then this alien who's dying, he births a baby alien.
Yeah.
And Dennis Quaid is now carrying this baby alien through the desert.
It's very odd that they're showing that on the trailer of any.
They kind of just spoiled the whole goddamn movie.
No, that was that was
the plot of the movie.
That was a major critical turning point of the movie where it finds out that the aliens, they reproduce asexually. They just like they have a birth pod inside of them.
So is it like when the new alien comes out? Is it like a mini version?
Yeah,
it's a pre-existing. He's just like.
No, it's his child, and then
he's got to relearn everything. Yeah, it's not like a new version of him.
But by that time, they'd been trapped on that planet together for they're the only two people there, and they've been trapped on that planet for like years.
So this is the end of the movie when this happens.
No, there's a whole. That's like halfway through the movie.
Oh, okay,
that's like the critical turning point when the falling action kind of begins. So Dennis Quaid ends up raising the baby alien,
right?
And he, while he's doing that, he's teaching the alien, like he's raising it to be like a functioning creature, and he's teaching it about humans, but he's also teaching it about
his culture
too, because he like, you know, and I just thought it's a really interesting movie overall based on that, because it takes a lot of directions.
That's a very similar story to, there's a old EC comic, and for those of you guys who don't know EC Comics, they produce all of those old horror comics like Tales from the Crypt, The Vault of Horror, Haunt of Fear, which I love those comics. But EC Comics was really interesting because they were kind of cutting edge. They did a lot of stuff that was way before their time. And the guy who ran EC Comics, William Gaines, he inherited the company from his father, and he kind of turned it into this mega corporation when all of his horror comic sales took off. And then in the they kind of demonized comic books, and they started having, small towns would have these big comic book burnings. So that's why a lot of those comic books from that era, the golden age, are worth money, and they're rare, is because a lot of them were destroyed.
Okay.
So William Gaines would later go on to.
I figured Time would have done that anyway.
Well, that
so
too. Yeah, but even that makes them even more rare.
Right.
And then later on, William Gaines, he did Mad Magazine, so he became even more successful with Mad Magazine later on. But there was a really interesting comic that they produced where after comics got demonized, they weren't allowed to make horror comics anymore, so they shifted over to sci-fi. So that's why you see a hard shift in comic books from, they used to have all these horror monster comics, Tales from the Crypt, where there would be like decapitated women on the front covers and stuff like that.
Super gruesome, yeah.
Yeah, super gruesome. And then they switched over to superheroes. But the reason why was because they had to. And the Comics Code Authority came in, and they started regulating
Comics Code Authority.
Yeah, the Comics Code Authority, and they started
absolutely outrageous.
I know, it is. They started regulating everything, so they would go in and search through their comics and take out anything that they felt like needed to be taken out. So one of the stories that EC Comics produced, which was really, really like powerful at its time, was about there were these interplanetary travelers who would go around to different planets and they would decide which planets got to be part of like the intergalactic council,
the federation,
it's like a superior race of superior federation of planets. And there was one planet he went to where there was blue robots and there was red robots, and they segregated. So he made the decision that they couldn't be part of the council because they were too primitive.
Yeah, they were segregating robots, man.
The whole punch of the comic was that this astronaut who was making these decisions, he's wearing his cosmic suit for the entire comic. And the whole punch in the gut back in the 1950s or whenever it was produced was that at the very end of the comic, for one panel, the last shot, he takes his helmet off and he's a black man. So of course, at the time in the 50s, that's like a huge thing that
that was them.
Exactly.
You're following this character around, following his moral leadership,
right?
And through this story where he's committing judgment based on other people for their primitive outlook on the world and their segregation. And it turns out that he's black, which back then people were like,
right. So it was kind of like it was kind of in the EC comics, and actually really Marvel comics from the beginning have always tended to be very, very progressive and to push very progressive ideas. And so at the time, that was very progressive.
Right.
And the Comics Code Authority was sifting through the comic, and they decided that, nope, you got to get rid of that. We can't have that panel. You got to get rid of the black guy. And that was the first time that they published, William Gaines published a comic without the Comics Code approval. He said, no, fuck you guys, I'm publishing it anyways. And then after that, everybody started publishing without the Comics Code.
Right.
But I always thought that was, big ups to William Gaines. I mean, it's very ballsy.
Way to William Gaines.
And it's kind of interesting because it gives you guys a little insight into the history of comic books. There's actually a really, really good documentary on. They used to air it on the History Channel when I was a little kid, and I don't remember what it was called. So if you guys were waiting for me to tell you what it was called, I don't know.
Probably Modern Marvels.
But just go on like YouTube and type in History Channel comic book documentary.
It was probably Modern Marvels.
Probably.
No.
And
do you remember that?
I do remember
that
Modern
Marvels. That always disappointed me because I wanted it to be about Marvel stuff. And then I why am I learning about a canon for an hour?
Back in the TV Guide days?
Dude.
Yeah, I did. I can't even count how many times I would do that. Modern Marvels. God damn it.
For sure. I'm going to see what this is about.
Yeah, so I did the exact same thing. But no, yeah, it's a very interesting documentary where they talk about that. And there's another interesting documentary. It's a Tales from the Crypt documentary that's on YouTube as well, where they go into that a little bit, and it gives you a really interesting background of horror comics and how they all started and whatnot.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll probably have to check that out. But yeah, the enemy mine thing, that was like, it was less about racism and segregation as it was about, like, I think it was more about like world peace.
Right.
Like it was more about like understanding that we're more we're more alike than we are different.
Yeah.
And when they were able to when these two people were forced to cohabitate with each other, that's what they found out. Over like having to survive together. And I think that's an awesome message. I actually really like.
How could anybody, unless you're a fucking sociopath, how can you not agree with that? Because at the end of the day,
but like most of the world fucking doesn't. Like there's a huge amount of the world that doesn't think that way. Well, and that's crazy to me.
Yeah, at the end of the day, really at the end of the, if you were to take most normal people, everybody has the same wants, and like people just want to be loved. They want to feel included. They want to feel like they're a part of a community. They want to feel appreciated, and they want to feel loved.
Yeah.
And that's why it's crazy to me, like when it, like, like when you have like feminists and stuff like that. Okay, there's nothing wrong with believing that, of course women deserve equal rights.
Yeah,
like duh. You have to be a fucking dummy not to think that. But to dedicate your life to that belief and to think that men are somehow trying to hold you down, and it's like you need each other to everybody needs each other to coexist.
I don't remember how this conversation went. Somebody told me like they were like feminism isn't about feminine superiority, it's about equal rights. And I said, they have a word for that already. It's
Right.
called egalitarian.
Yes.
You fucking idiot.
Okay, and see, that's what makes me despise it is because
most of them don't know what they're representing.
It's the same to me if you get into feminism or if racial equality, all those things. It's all kind of, to me, it's all in the same category, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So everybody deserves equal rights, so you don't have to subcategorize it as if this one is more important than the other.
Exactly. I was just gonna say, when you subcategorize it like that, when you go, all right, I stand for this. Everybody deserves equal rights, but I stand for this. It's like, well, then you're putting the needs of that party on a pedestal above other people, and the more support that your party gets, that you're fighting for support for, tilts the balance in their favor.
Yeah, and I think it propagates it, and it's. I don't think it actually does any good. I think it actually separates them more.
Absolutely, that goes without saying. When you're pre-categorizing, then you're segregating yourself. You're going like, we're feminists, so our decisions automatically vote towards feminist concepts.
Right.
It votes towards feminist advantage, feminine advantage, and that there are situations that call for that. There's right and wrong there, but to be absolute and hold that position where I am this category.
Right.
We're Black Panthers, we're feminists, we're
Republican,
Democrat,
Yeah.
we're fucking Nazis, we're KKK. Whatever you are, if you're solidly to one side, then you're being exclusive.
Yes.
And you're being exclusionary.
And it's always fascinating to me how eager people are to strip themselves of their individuality.
Oh yeah.
I mean, people will just jump. It's strange.
It's
people
religion,
will jump
man.
at that opportunity.
All those things are religions, just the same as anything else. They're things that they're a set of rules that were that you didn't necessarily agree to, but you've accepted them as the way that you have to live your life. You didn't. Well, you agreed to them, but you didn't arrange them for yourself.
Right.
Somebody else arranged those. Another person who is not better than you, just a person, decided this is how this should be. And you should listen to me. And you went,
and you
ready
went
to do
along
that.
with it.
And I'm going to be like everybody else in this group of people.
Yeah.
That's a really good point you made about people being ready to strip their individuality.
Well, and of course there's absolutely like tons of benefit that come from. If you were to take you can separate the good, right? You can sift through the good and the bad in those scenarios.
Sure.
The bad being, as we said, the separation of one's individuality. The good being the sense of community. A lot of times when bad things happen, let's say somebody passes away, like a good example that I like to use. I remember when I was in junior high, I had a friend who was Mormon, and his mom died like very suddenly. Like this, it was like out of nowhere. I remember he showed up to school one day, and I was like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" And he's like, "Oh, not so good." And I was like, "Why? What's going on?" He's like, "My mom died." I was like, "What?" It was just like totally like and you just had no clue. And I would talk to him, and just people would like be dropping by every day, visiting his family, dropping off food, like members in that community. Yeah. So in that regard, they're very, very, I think when you have that, that's a very powerful thing. But you can find that anywhere. You can find that I'm sure at the fight gym that you train at, you find tons of that. At my gym that I train out of, you find tons of that. I mean, there's so many different ways you can get that without having to live by a code.
Well, there's community. Is a good thing. I think, of course, every disadvantaged or disenfranchised party needs representation.
Right.
Like women, and any your choice of minority, ethnic groups, whatever it is. They've been oppressed. Historically, they've been oppressed, and we are catching up. Our society's rules are catching up. At this point, I think we're getting to a place where we're probably about there. Like as far as like legal representation and everything. I think everybody, aside from individual circumstances, growing up in a bad neighborhood or whatever, everybody kind of has the same shake.
Well, yeah, and
things.
you will hear. I mean, I know like Joe Rogan has had. I can't remember the name. The Baltimore cop that he had. Did you ever hear that? He had a Baltimore cop on his podcast who had some pretty interesting perspective on the just the way that minorities in Baltimore could be kind of screwed over by the legal system. And I'm of course there's going to be exceptions and there's going to be various examples. But no, I do agree with you. You would have to. I don't think anybody would disagree that it's better now than it was 50 years ago, and it's going to hopefully continue to make progress.
And we're working on it, and I think that it's getting better, but I don't know. I just think that. Well, I mean, we were discussing the good parts of those categorized groups.
I was actually already thinking about this earlier because I've, as we talked about in prior podcasts, I'm a big pro wrestling fan, and they had an event that they were running today in Saudi Arabia called the Greatest Royal Rumble. Okay, and it's a 50-man Royal Rumble.
Jesus.
Yeah, which I don't know.
I don't know how to make sense of that.
But a 50-man Royal Rumble, but because it's taking place in Saudi Arabia, none of the female performers are allowed to perform, so there will be no female wrestlers on this program. And it's really hard for me. Like, there's that part of me that wants to be like, well, every culture kind of has their own way of doing things, and it's just a different place. But then there's a part of me that wants to be like, fuck that, like, fuck them, that's shitty culture. There's a part of me that wants to think that. It is, and I'm sure it's far more complex and far more. No. But
I agree with you, and I get what you're saying, and I think I'm more inclined to be like, it's not our fucking business to change anybody else's culture. Yeah. That's my view on it. That is their culture. I think it's a shitty culture and I don't agree with it. Yeah. But it's also their culture. Yeah. I can't walk into your house and be like, hey man, that's a stupid fucking rug, and try to take that rug out of you. Like, that's a dumb poster that you have up there. I don't like that poster.
Can you imagine The Rock goes in there?
Asshole, why don't you have a TV?
Let me tell you something, Saudi Arabia. You jabronis won't let these female wrestlers in here? This culture sucks. And he just cuts a scathing promo on Saudi Arabia.
Oh, man.
And
they'd probably love it.
They boo him out of the building.
They'd fucking kill him.
Oh, man. That would be hilarious.
That would be awesome. But yeah, it's just like, when it comes down to it, we are talking about... we're talking about prejudice and bias. We're talking about people who are not getting to live life the way they may want to, the way they may live it if it was up to them.
Right. I guess in regards to like just using Saudi Arabian culture as an example, like, I haven't looked into it too deeply. I don't know if you were to talk to and interview some of the women who live over there, they might not feel that way. They might disagree with me, and they might say, you know what, I have a good life. I like it over here. Like, I like the way things are. I don't know.
You hear different things. I think a lot of them...
I'm sure there's varying examples across the board, but...
Because I'm clearly an expert on this. No, but I mean, like, of the things I've heard, I've taken some anthropology classes. I've heard, like, some...
I actually have a Saudi Arabian woman knitting group that I meet with every Monday night, and we talk about this in great detail.
I occasionally visit Saudi Arabia, and I sit with the women.
We talk. We chat. I got a few ladies who are friends over there.
But no, I've heard some like interviews and stuff. I'm like, and honestly, the big problem with that is like, can they really say what they want to say?
Well, yeah,
like, is it really safe for them to say what they want to say?
That's another thing I was going to get back to and say is like, well, if they don't know if they don't have the opportunity to experience anything different, then
that's not even what I mean. I mean, can they safely say what they really want to say? They don't really have the option to be like, get me the hell out of here. This place is a prison.
Right,
But then also that is the culture that they were raised in. That's what life is like for them. And maybe they're just like, yeah, this is what it is. Like, I hear people talk about like banning burqas. Like, I hear those fucking hipsters are always talking about, they're burqas. It's it's dehumanizing and everything. And then you hear women from Muslim countries talk about. They're like, this is our religion.
Right.
This
They
is
don't,
what
they
we
don't view
believe.
it like that at all.
Like,
I have seen that same thing that
they're
you're
like,
talking
don't-
about.
Yeah, don't tell me that I can't wear this. I'm wearing this because this is what I believe. Like
Right.
a lot of, you'll hear them talk and say, no, by my religion, by what I believe,
Yeah,
I am
this
my
is
husband's property.
Just like
That's my
it's
belief.
no different than
Like,
a Jewish man wearing a yarmulke,
Yeah,
or
right.
you know, a Christian guy wearing a cross. It's the
Right.
same. It's just symbolism.
It's symbolism, and it's not just part of their culture. I mean, it's part of their religion, and it's not all of them follow it so strictly. You don't always see, like, there's plenty of people who practice the Muslim religion.
Yeah.
Here in California, right? In this neighborhood, there's
Right.
got to be some, and you don't see them walking around in burqas because not everybody is a strict Islamist.
Right.
And,
Well, you know, I did see a guy one time, just a little off subject, but I did see a guy one time at the gym. I don't know why I thought this was funny. Maybe I shouldn't have thought it was funny. I shouldn't even be admitting this, but he was wearing a yarmulke. He was just like this scrawny dude wearing a yarmulke, and he was squatting. And I don't know why. I was just sitting there on the bench, and I just started cackling. I was like 19 at the time, and I just started cackling, and it looked like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Just this little guy with his yarmulke squatting. It just
scrawny yarmulke dude.
I mean, I'm pretty sure even in if there was another Jewish man sitting next to me, he would have been like, "Hey, you see this guy's yarmulke over here squatting? Looks a little silly, right?" Like, I mean, I think anybody would have laughed at that. I don't think it was any way offensive that I thought this was funny.
I agree. I think like there's odd times and places for things like that. We have this guy who comes into my work, and I didn't know he was a regular until like the other day. Like I just keep seeing him. And the only reason why I recognize him is because he's this old dude, probably like in his late 50s to mid 60s. I know that's a broad,
Yeah.
But like, he's like 50s to 60s. He's pretty old, and he has that like Play-Doh body thing, and he always is in there. I work at a fucking restaurant. I don't work at like, I don't work at like a fast food place. So we're gonna sit down restaurant with like a cocktail area, hosts and everything, and this guy is in there in his fucking bike gear, like his skin tight, like,
Goofy looking bike gear.
and I just think like it's so funny to me how some people just can't dress appropriately for things. It's like,
well, bike gear is inherently just like they can't come up with a new style.
No, well, I just mean like all I'm saying is like you're gonna go to a restaurant. Can you put some fucking pants on and a shirt like a fucking normal adult? You knew you were going to a restaurant. It's not like you fucking biked here, man. You're with someone who's wearing normal clothes.
I was telling Ariana the other day that I've always thought the idea of getting into biking seemed kind of fun. You get together with your buds, you go on a long however many mile ride, make a day out of it, have a nice little time, but I don't want to look like an asshole. I don't want to look like an idiot wearing spandex. I mean, I wear
it's
spandex,
always like spandex
anyways,
short
but I have some shorts
like,
over the top of them. All right, I already know what some of you assholes out there are thinking. Wait, Matt wears spandex. Hey, I wear shorts over my spandex, so you can't see my big old dangalang flopping all around. Hey, nah. Or lack thereof.
Whatever it is, you can't see
Whatever
it either way.
Alien pod I have between my legs.
The creature from the black spandex. I wear like rash guards and Under Armour and shit when I train and stuff. It's like it's just comfortable to work out in, but like I'll wear like I'm not gonna go walk into a restaurant and like what it reminds me of is fucking hanging out in public places with fucking Matt Painter, who like would just wear his fucking fight shorts everywhere. It was like we'd go pick him up, and he would just like. I remember one time we picked him up, and he was like wearing his fight shorts, and he was like, I don't know, he was like doing some work at the house. And he was, he's like, oh, can we go back to the house? I gotta go change. And we were like, yeah, for sure. And so we take him back to the house, and he changed into another pair of fight shorts.
These are my formal fight shorts.
These are my formal, my tuxedo fight shorts. If I'm going to a wedding.
My tuxedo fight shorts. These are Gucci fight shorts, all right? My Gucci sandals.
Yeah, I was like, first of all, I don't know how many of you people out there have worn fight shorts that are listening to this. They are form function.
Yeah.
They're not comfortable to wear. Like they're
like
tight.
They're like really uncomfortable board shorts.
Yeah, they're like tight around the waist because you don't want them to move around, and they are pretty tough fabric.
Yeah.
So they're just generally they're not that comfortable to wear.
Yeah.
But you wear them when you're doing fight stuff because they're appropriate for that, and they're designed for that.
Yeah.
And then if you're gonna go get a sandwich at the fucking sandwich spot, you put pants on like an adult.
I think I just thought of a new business idea: sandwich shorts. Like fight shorts. These are my sandwich eating shorts. All right. I plan on getting stuffed. I'm gonna be a little bloated. I need some sandwich eating shorts.
I'm gonna have a high gluten intake today.
You could have a line of food shorts: pizza shorts, pasta shorts, sandwich shorts.
So I just like the sound of sandwich shorts.
Salad shorts. This is very nice sounding, huh? It rolls off the
lobster
tongue.
Shorts.
Lobster shorts.
I would buy a pair of lobster shorts, and I would probably buy a pair of sandwich shorts.
Yeah. If you had like a white pair of lobster shorts, they would very quickly look like you urinated yourself because they would just be slathered in butter. And you just
why would you get white lobster shorts? That wouldn't even make sense.
I think in my head,
your shorts have to be color appropriate for what you're going to be eating in them.
I envisioned lobster shorts. I pictured them as white because the bib. You wear the crab bib or the lobster bib. It's always white. So I pictured them as white. That's a good point. Why in the fuck would you white lobster shorts? Why would you have white shorts or anything? Really, if you think about it, they're gonna get dirty as fuck.
As Nick always says, if you wear white shorts or pants, you do anal. So that
is a fact.
That one's on the books. That's,
I don't think I've ever had. Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a white pair of shorts
right there. But yeah, it's a declaration. They're like, this asshole is open to visitors. That's
open for biz. Oh man, that is funny.
Yeah, but anyway, we got way out there for a little while.
Indeed, we did. Where are we at on time? How are we looking here?
We are at 1:51. So, I mean, if you want to cut this, make it a little shorter than the other ones. We can stop it at about 2, or we can keep going.
I do have to take a leak. I'm down to keep going, but I gotta drain the main vein.
I'm gonna look over my notes and see anything I wanted to talk about. Well, once again, I'm left alone with you people. Got Matt Lovato taking a goddamn bathroom break like he's on fucking vacation right now. This is business. This is work. We're trying to make something for you people. You don't even care. You just sit there listening. No, I really appreciate you guys, actually. I don't mean it. You know I love you. We are having a good time here. Where are all my notes? Oh. So this is a good time to plug ourselves once again. My Instagram, Bone Cutrone. Matt's Instagram, ML_intrinsic resistance or Matt Reviews Media. Send us a message. Let us know what you think about what's going on here. Leave us a comment under the video. Keep us posted on some content that you want to hear about. Like, if we keep talking about the same shit too much and you guys aren't that into it, let us fucking know, man.
Yeah, if you guys have heard enough about lobster eating shorts, it's weird how you can just wake up one day and something that you would have never known existed prior to that day exists. I now know what lobster eating shorts are, and I never knew.
I still don't know what they are. I actually don't think it does exist.
I've pictured them when I imagine them in my head. They're white spandex.
White spandex.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
White.
Yeah.
So now we've gone official that they're white. They're white now. That's
yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
So I saw. I was just looking through my notes here and looking at some things that I've watched recently, and I got a pretty interesting one. I watched a really low budget horror movie the other day, and usually I turn those off. I have a whole rating system on where it's like made in a garage, all gay cast. C movie, B movie. It's sort of like I can't even like think. Me and my sister have like them all categorized, but filmed on an iPhone. That's one of them. So this one was like really low budget. Usually when they're this low budget, I won't even give them a shot. I'll start the movie and I'll just be like, I don't like looking at this. So this was a 2017 movie. It literally looked, and I'm not exaggerating this, it looked like it was filmed with 70s camera equipment.
Okay.
The overall quality of the sound system and everything. But it just had like good quality brutality and good like it had a good level of action, and the actual gore effects, they weren't like studio level, but they were like good for how low budget it was.
Yeah.
It was good enough to watch it and just be like in the movie. And it's just, there's something like, there's this fine line you walk when you watch independent horror movies like this. It's like, this is so close to being unwatchably shitty, and it's just teetering on that edge. And I feel like this one was good enough to watch, and it,
what
definitely.
is it called?
It was called Terrifier. I know, right off the bat.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I Terrifier.
I know, right off the bat. I didn't even like. I just like what I saw was the. I saw the face of the clown that's hunting these girls.
I've never seen Terrifier, but I have seen this this particular like
the case, the movie image.
I've seen that before, the movie image.
Yeah, I just passed by it, and the effects were fair. They were. It was almost like that hobo with a shotgun level. Like,
okay, yeah.
like,
No, I actually. Hobo. You know what? And hey, I just pulled up Terrifier on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's probably made by.
80%.
80%, really?
Yeah,
that good?
Very favorable reviews.
Yeah.
So,
that's the thing, is like I give it a pretty decent review. I would say if you like watching horror movies, you want to see something different than what's coming out to theaters. Like this is a good ride. It's got a good amount.
Okay, but now I recognize why I've seen this character before. Under movie info, it says based on a character from the cult anthology All Hallows Eve. The gory 80s slasher throwback takes place on Halloween night as the demented Art the Clown sets his sights on terrorizing two girls and anyone else who gets in his way. So that's why that clown looked familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a right at the beginning of the movie, they have like a. I guess it's a flash forward or whatever, and then they're showing this interview with a girl who is a survivor of the massacre or whatever, and she's just got like no face.
Yeah, All Hallows Eve actually doesn't even have. That must have been very. It does, because it doesn't even have a. It doesn't have a Rotten Tomatoes score.
Does it?
No, so it must be very like super underground. Because I remember, I almost want to say that my brother tried to show me All Hallows Eve. Or he did show me it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I feel like I may have come across it. I don't know if I ever watched that one or not, but...
Okay. So, Terrifier. And actually, it does look pretty scary just from the images that I pulled up from it.
Don't get too excited. It's not like... I think 80% of Rotten Tomatoes is a liberal scoring. I think they are accounting for the fact that it's a very low budget. They did not have quality acting by any standards. It wasn't for that low budget of a movie. It wasn't like super horrible acting like you would expect, but it was definitely like you could tell these were not professional or likely even paid actors. were in it.
Okay. Or likely they made no money.
No, they probably legit. They probably got craft services or sandwiches, I should say.
They're talking to the main actress is trying to renegotiate her salary, and the director, she's like, "Look, I want $100,000. I expect my own trailer. I want my own makeup. I need a wardrobe." And the director's like, "Yeah, I'm going to give you a sandwich. We've got really good catering. That's all you're going to get.
And I'm going to give you a pair of sandwich shorts to eat it in.
And I'll give you some lobster shorts." So actually, lobster shorts are a little too nice because you ain't getting lobster on the set of Terrifier or Terrorizer, whatever it's called. You're getting sandwich shorts, not lobster shorts.
Yeah. I was going to say, a couple of the girls in it were actually pretty hot. They were like, they're like two of the characters were like better looking than I would think that movie could afford.
This movie looks very similar to me to a thing that I stumbled upon recently on a joke website.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of, and I'm sure any of our younger viewers, you may want to tune out at this point, or any of our more sensitive viewers, have you ever heard of clown porn? Now, I'm not talking about just like some goofy Ronald McDonald looking clown in a porno movie.
Like scary clown porn or what?
Very scary.
Jesus
like I'm talking
Christ.
like probably Terrifier level budget, but with a pornographic film.
That sounds like. I mean, I have obviously heard the words clown porn before.
This is a little different. This is kind of like full blown. They took it's like a horror movie,
okay,
but it's a pornographic film, and it's pretty scary. It's really unsettling.
It
I don't know.
It sounds like it would be unsettling.
It's very unsettling. It's I don't even recommend that any of you out there watch it. I mean, if you're curious, you might want to take a gander, but it would really, really gross me out.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like a tough thing.
And I'm
not
like I said, not Ronald McDonald clowns.
Yeah.
Like they look like this clown from Terrifier.
Go ahead and Google Terrifier. Have a look at Art the Clown. Like it's a pretty scary looking clown. Like
yes.
I know better than to put a movie on just based on the cover. I've had that trick happen to me many times where it's like, damn, that looks scary as shit. Well, the whole budget went into the cover. This one,
he is, man. I'm looking at some of these. I just Googled some Man, he is very scary looking.
It's a good, solid, scary clown, and he is active. It's not one of those horror movies that leaves you like in suspense. There's a good amount of gore and action to enjoy, pass the time.
And I think this is definitely, if my brother's listening right now, he's probably screaming at the podcast, because I think this is definitely, I think All Hallows Eve was what he showed me. That had Art the Clown in it. Wow.
Sure.
Very interesting. And it was All Hallows Eve. Apparently, it was an anthology, so it's kind of like a Tales from the Crypt creep show type format.
And it's old or what? It was from the. What did you say?
All Hallows Eve was released in 2013. I think.
Okay, so it's
fairly
not
recent.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
I thought it was saying that it was.
All Hallows Eve was released recently, but Terrifier is from 2017.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Is I thought All Hallows Eve, like, because it said it was referencing All Hallows Eve, like it was a classic movie or something. Anyway, what I was going to say about the appearance of Art the Clown, it reminds me of a couple interesting videos on YouTube. There is a pretty good community of scary short films on YouTube, like real short films. One of my favorite ones, it's only like a couple minutes long. If you guys want to see something like cleverly scary, check out Bedfellows on YouTube. That's a neat little short video.
Bedfellows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it comes up. It's only like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah. You gonna watch it real quick? Get a reaction? All right. Yeah. Matt's gonna watch Bedfellows.
Bedfellows here. It does look.
You can watch it with the sound. It doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. So we're opening up Bedfellows.
I usually find things like this on Reddit. Reddit's a good source of stuff like this.
Reddit,
But
from what I'm told, has a lot of really creepy little...
if that's what you're looking at, sure, that's what you'll find.
Yeah. Did you ever see the documentary on the guy who invented Reddit?
No.
It's called The Internet's Own Boy. Any of you guys out there are interested, check it out. So Bedfellows just began. Got a woman laying in bed. Very dimly lit room. Can hear crickets chirping outside. Pictures of her and her husband or boyfriend. I think her husband.
Whatever they are, their faces are next to each other.
Yeah, her phone is ringing. She looks quite annoyed that somebody would be calling her at this hour.
Why would someone be calling?
And disturb her slumber. Now she's asking Dan, her significant other, to hand her her phone. Dan doesn't want to wake up. She's now answered the phone. Oh my god. Alright, now I have to pause it here. Because this already in itself is very scary.
Awesome, right?
She's trying to wake up Dan. So Dan will answer her phone. And she's pushing on Dan. She's like, Dan, answer the phone. She reaches over Dan to grab her phone, but Dan is covered by blankets. And then it's Dan calling. And he says, babe, I'm sorry. So she's sleeping next to a stranger. And it's dawned on her.
She's now realizing that.
She's now realizing. Oh, man. This is like a really creepy looking demon.
Yeah.
Kind of like the white face, the demon face from The Exorcist. Oh, now she's reaching over to see what it is. She doesn't know what it is.
And it's like smiling.
Yet.
Oh. That's cool,
Man,
huh?
Yeah. I highly recommend that, guys. It was like 1.5 minutes long, and it's just like a little short movie called Bedfellows. But man, if you
like scary stuff, like
if you don't like scary stuff, I wouldn't recommend it because that is very scary.
That's a real scary minute right there that you got.
Well,
like,
that just provides you with an example of how utilizing certain techniques, how kind of easy it is to scare people. You know, you don't have to. It's almost like, I think when it comes to legitimate scary scenes in movies, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Halloween. Like, more is less. You know, when you
less is more.
Less is more. Yeah. When you give somebody a big machine of a man like Jason Voorhees just hunting everybody down,
it's more fun. Not scary.
Not so much scary. This is scary because. Well, you can see what she can't, and you're just waiting. That's that suspense factor.
But it only really becomes scary when you realize with her that that's not her.
Right.
Boyfriend.
Yeah.
It lets you feel the fear. It doesn't. It doesn't force the fear on you. It puts you in that situation with her. And, And this is done in a minute. On probably a $0 budget. Like that couldn't have cost anything to make.
No.
And yeah, it's a really good example of using good storytelling to be frightening.
Absolutely, very effective.
Yes. Less is more. I'm trying to think of there's another good one. I can't remember what it's fucking called. It's this one where this kid is like following. It's like following some candies in the. Like, he's following candies, and there's like someone in the house that's like leaving them, and it ends up being this like deranged maniac. But I can't fucking remember what it's called.
Did you ever see Campfire Tales?
No.
It was like a 90s. That was an anthology movie, and there was a really creepy sub-story within that movie where there's like a little girl, and she's like 12 years old or something like that, and there's kind of a similar scene to where there's like this creepy kind of, I don't know, I think he's like a pedophile or something, hiding under her bed with a pair of bush cutters or something.
Yeah.
But I didn't do a very good job describing it there. Talking about a creepy pedophile with bush cutters.
I didn't do a great job of describing the other one either.
Hey guys,
I can see it in my head. But
when I was 9 years old, it was very scary. I don't know if it still holds up. Probably not. But you know, hey, you might want to check it out.
Sure. Yeah. But yeah, you know, I was watching John Wick 2 the other day, and this is just this is a total like left turn because I just saw this in my notes actually, but I thought this is a funny thing to point out. I was watching John Wick 2 the other day, and there's a close up on Common's face at one point. So you remember he's in that?
Yeah.
You ever realize how much he looks like a young Morgan Freeman?
Common Morgan Freeman.
Get a close up look at his face.
Let me pull up. You know,
at least the expression he was making on this scene. I looked at him and was like, Jesus Christ, he just looks like Morgan Freeman.
I'm gonna Google a picture of a young Morgan Freeman because Morgan Freeman is one of those guys who he really kind of hit it big when he was older. So you're just used to seeing him as an older dude.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of does, but it has to be
the right angle.
The right angle, yeah, because there's certain angles on here.
I just thought it was a funny thing to realize. Like I'm seeing.
He does. No, there's some resemblance there, but it's weird because Morgan Freeman is one of those guys who, even as a young man, looks very old.
Right. Well, I'm sure he didn't look like an actual young Morgan Freeman. He looked like Morgan Freeman if you just took that face and made it look younger.
Right.
You know how that's not always the same thing?
Like this one right here. This is the right angle.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a lot like if he had a more narrow nose.
Yes.
Common doesn't have that wide of a nose.
No, yeah. There's definitely some similar
but I saw like the spots on his face and stuff, and like, you know, the shape of his head and everything. I was like, it looks like Morgan Freeman.
He's got those freckles going. Yeah, I can see that. Definitely. Definitely. All right, well, you want to keep going with it, or
you got any stuff you want to talk about? Anything we didn't touch on? Anything you've been watching lately?
Not necessarily. I think we had a nice little wide range of topics there. Kind of touched on everything.
Well, are we still going to be able to? I know we were talking about this before we met up today. Wyatt might be in town tomorrow, and we're gonna.
I talked to him earlier. I think we're gonna do it.
Okay,
but yeah, we were.
I'm gonna be available. I'm gonna be here most of the day tomorrow, so we can definitely find a time where we're all around. And if he has his podcast equipment, you told him to bring his stuff, so we could probably do a little better with the recording. Wyatt, I'm really looking forward to getting into talking about some hip hop stuff.
Yes,
with
very much so.
Yeah, he's a performer. Mm-hmm. He's a podcaster as well. Mm-hmm. He's a content provider. A lot of cool stuff we can get into with Wyatt.
Indeed.
All right.
Yeah, a lot of good stories. So we're gonna kind of swerve you guys a little bit, switch things up, and have our first official guest.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Riot Craig.
Indeed,
is gonna be joining the Back and Bone show.
Back and Bone 3, back for more.
All right. Thanks again for joining us, everyone. It's been a pleasure having you. And don't forget to leave a comment, a like, a share. It don't cost you a damn thing. And visit us on our social media, Bone Cutrone.
If you don't like, comment, or share, you basically don't have a soul. Bone Cutrone, ML_intrinsic resistance for my fitness page, Matt Reviews Media for my media review page.
And remember, we're not just interested in positive feedback. We want to hear everything you guys have to say.
Yeah.
If you didn't make it through this podcast, you probably wouldn't be hearing me talk right now. So this message is not for you. But
for those of you that tuned out earlier that can't hear this,
fuck you, man. No, no, but seriously, if you made it through this, you're hearing this message right now, let us know what about our opinions and perspectives annoy you and what you disagree with. I know we got a little controversial there earlier. We didn't really dig too deep into those subjects, so I'm sure there's a lot of speculation about our viewpoints at this at this juncture. But I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Come at me.